never truly understood my grandfather. He was a man of few words, a relic of a bygone era, shrouded in the stoicism of his generation. A World War II veteran, his stories of the war were scattered, shared in fragments over dinners that were too formal, too rare. His experiences etched in lines on his face rather than in the tales he told. Growing up, I was fascinated by the mystery of him. My grandfather, the combat pilot, had flown missions that were whispered about in reverence and hushed tones. But to me, he was the silent figure at family gatherings, his gaze distant, as if he was perpetually lost in a world I could never visit. It was this distance that piqued my curiosity, a curiosity about the past he carried like an invisible mantle. When he passed away, it felt like a library had burnt down, taking with it stories untold, secrets kept firmly locked away. Left behind was a void, an unquenchable desire to know the man behind the medals, the hero shrouded in mystery. As his only grandchild, the task of sorting through his belongings fell to me, a task I approached with a mix of dread and anticipation. The first step into his old house was like stepping back in time. Each room was a capsule, preserving moments of a life lived in the shadows of history. His study, in particular, was a testament to his silent legacy. Here, among the dust-covered books and faded maps, was where I hoped to find him. My search led me to the attic, a place that seemed untouched by the passage of time. It was here, in the dim light filtered through the dusty windows, that I stumbled upon an old metallic box. Its surface was tarnished, but it carried the weight of significance, a sense of stories waiting to be unveiled. I opened the box. Inside, I found a collection of items that seemed incongruent with the man I thought I knew. A military medal whose significance was lost on me, a stack of papers yellowed with age, and an old photograph of my grandfather with two men I didn't recognize. They were dressed in pilot uniforms, standing before a backdrop of a ship's body. The photograph was a puzzle. My grandfather, the combat pilot, had always been a figure of the past, his war stories fragmented and incomplete. Yet here he was, frozen in time, a part of history I had never known. The men beside him were strangers to me, their stories intertwined with his in ways I couldn't begin to understand. Beneath the photograph, the stack of papers beckoned. As I sifted through them, I realized they were letters, written in my grandfather's steady hand. The topmost letter was addressed to no one in particular, but its opening lines were a direct address to the future, a future he had perhaps envisioned, one where his secrets would finally be unearthed. My grandfather's words, preserved on paper, promised to bridge the gap between the man I remembered and the hero he had been. As I began to read, the silent house around me seemed to listen, holding its breath as the past was slowly peeled away, layer by layer. First letter. I carefully unfolded seemed to breathe, its creases unfolding like the petals of an ancient, long-dormant flower. The ink, faded but resilient, formed words that my grandfather penned with a deliberate hand. It began, "My dearest, if you are reading this, then I am no longer here to share the stories I've carried within me, stories too heavy for spoken words. My service in World War II was not as straightforward as I led you to believe. Beyond the battles fought in daylight, there was another war, one waged in the shadows and depths of Chuuk Lagoon. You may have heard of Chuuk Lagoon, a place where the remains of what is now known as the Ghost Fleet lie submerged. These are not merely relics of war, but keepers of secrets, some of which I was a part of. In the final days of the conflict, I was assigned to a covert operation, one that would forever alter my view of the world and the war we thought we were fighting. We discovered something in the depths of those waters, something far beyond the usual spoils of war. Amidst the wreckage of sunken ships, we found evidence of experiments, inhuman experiments aimed at creating soldiers who could endure beyond natural limits. These were not mere rumors or hearsay, but tangible proof. documents and samples sealed within the iron coffins of the deep. The purpose of our mission was to ensure such secrets remained buried, deemed too dangerous and morally reprehensible to be brought to light. The weight of this knowledge has been a heavy burden, one I have borne in silence, haunted by the ghosts of what was done in the name of victory. The letter paused here, as if my grandfather had taken a moment to gather his thoughts, or perhaps to steel his resolve. I could almost hear his voice, a whisper from the past, as I turned the page to continue reading. In our exploration of the wrecks, we stumbled upon something even more unsettling: documents and research attributed to Albert Einstein. These were not the public theories and works for which he is renowned, but rather projects of a far more controversial nature, potentially altering the fabric of reality itself. The implications of this research were profound, hinting at discoveries and inventions that could have changed the course of human history had they not been lost to the depths. But perhaps the most astonishing of all were the artifacts we uncovered, items of unknown origins, technology that seemed to leap centuries ahead of our time. These were not the creations of the world we knew, but hinted at influences and knowledge far beyond our understanding. I was part of the team tasked with the recovery of these items, an endeavor shrouded in as much secrecy as the experiments themselves. Our orders were clear: recover, document, and ensure that none of this information reached the surface. The decision to sink these ships deliberately, to entomb these secrets beneath the waves, was made at the highest levels. You must understand, the moral quandaries we faced were insurmountable. To reveal these discoveries could have unleashed chaos, challenged the very foundations of our beliefs, and perhaps even endangered humanity itself. Yet, in choosing silence, we bore the weight of history, a history altered not by what is known, but by what is hidden. As I pen this letter, I am tormented by the thought of whether we chose rightly. The world has moved on, yet the secrets of Chuuk Lagoon remain, untouched by time, a testament to the shadows of war. I leave this knowledge in your hands, not as a burden, but as a beacon of truth, in a world that often prefers the comfort of shadows to the harshness of light. Holding the letter, I felt a bridge form across the generations, a connection forged in the truths he had entrusted to me. The weight of this knowledge was now mine to bear, a legacy of secrets whispered from the depths of Chuuk Lagoon. The experiments conducted on those ships, hidden beneath the tranquil waters of Chuuk Lagoon, were a testament to mankind's reach exceeding its grasp. In the hulls of those sunken vessels, we found more than just the remnants of war. We discovered chambers that had been converted into makeshift laboratories, the scenes of unspeakable experiments. Soldiers, both willing and unwilling, had been subjected to trials that defied ethical boundaries. They were injected with serums, exposed to radiation, and subjected to psychological torture, all in the pursuit of creating superhuman warriors. The documents we recovered detailed these experiments with clinical detachment, the names of the subjects reduced to mere numbers. It was clear that those responsible had viewed these men not as humans, but as tools to be honed and used until broken. Among the records were notes on successes, men who could go days without sleep, who exhibited strength beyond ordinary limits, who could endure pain that would incapacitate others. But these successes were few, overshadowed by the failures, the lives irrevocably damaged or lost in the name of progress. It was our duty to ensure that these horrors and the success of experiments remained buried, as some of the soldiers were still alive till date, that the world remained unaware of the depths to which humanity had sunk in its quest for domination. Yet, as I write this, I question whether silence was the right choice. Did we protect the world from these dark truths, or did we merely shield those responsible from the consequences of their actions? I hesitated before turning next page, uncertain if I was ready to face further revelations. Yet the pull of the past was irresistible, and so I continued. The secrets of Chuuk Lagoon were not limited to the inhuman experiments. or the quest for superhuman soldiers. Among the wreckage, we also found evidence of research that stretched the boundaries of science and morality alike. In one of the sunken laboratories, we uncovered files stamped with the seal of secrecy, projects that had been spearheaded by some of the brightest minds of our time. These were not just military endeavors, but scientific pursuits that sought to alter the very course of human evolution. The files spoke of genetic manipulation, of attempts to engineer humans capable of surviving in environments beyond Earth, of enhancing intelligence to levels previously deemed impossible. It was as if Pandora's box had been opened, unleashing possibilities and horrors in equal measure. The realization that we were standing on the precipice of a new era, one where the definition of humanity itself could be rewritten, was both exhilarating and terrifying. The potential for good was immense, but so too was the potential for misuse. In our hands lay the power to shape the future, to usher in advancements that could benefit all of mankind. Yet, the shadow of the experiments, of the suffering endured by those who had become unwitting participants in this quest, loomed large. We were faced with a choice: to bring these discoveries to light, to allow the world to decide the path forward, or to bury them, to protect humanity from the temptation of power that could all too easily corrupt. The decision to keep these secrets submerged within the lagoon was not made lightly. It was a choice born of fear, perhaps, but also of hope. Hope that one day the world would be ready to wield such power with wisdom and compassion. The letter trailed off, leaving behind a silence that seemed to echo with the magnitude of what had been concealed. My grandfather's words painted a picture of a world at a crossroads, a moment in time where the future hung in the balance. I was left to ponder the implications of these revelations, the legacy of a man who had grappled with questions that touched upon the very essence of what it means to be human. Among the debris of warfare and the remnants of inhumane ambitions, we stumbled upon something that defied not only our understanding of war, but of reality itself. In the bowels of one particularly foreboding wreck, sealed within a safe that was miraculously intact, were documents and prototypes that seemed to leap from the pages of science fiction. These were not the creations of a mind constrained by the technologies of our era, but visions of a future far beyond our reach. The prototypes were of weapons, yes, but of a nature so advanced and destructive that their existence threatened to shatter the precarious balance of power in a world already teetering on the brink of annihilation. We found designs for weaponry that could manipulate weather, turn thoughts into tangible weapons, and devices that could induce seismic events capable of leveling cities. It was clear that these were not mere theoretical exercises. The accompanying documents contained test results, diagrams, and notes that spoke of successful trials and potential applications. The realization that such power could be wielded by fallible hands was a weight too heavy to bear. The discussions that followed among our team were fraught with tension and moral quandary. Were we to become the gatekeepers of a future dictated by the horrors of the past? Or should we take the mantle of guardians, ensuring that such power would never see the light of day, at least not until the world was ready, or perhaps, more aptly, wise enough to handle it? In the end, the decision was unanimous. We would sink these secrets back into the abyss from which they came. The ships of Chuuk Lagoon would become not just a graveyard of war's folly, but a vault, safeguarding humanity from a future it was not yet ready to confront. As I seal this letter, I do so with a heavy heart. The secrets I have shared with you are but a fraction of the truth that lies buried in the depths of Chuuk Lagoon. I have lived with the weight of these revelations, tormented by the choices we made in the name of protection, of peace. I leave these words to you, not as a confession, but as a testament to the complexities of war, of human nature, and of the endless pursuit of power. May they serve as a reminder of the responsibilities that come with knowledge, and of the enduring hope that one day we may be ready to face these truths with courage and wisdom. with all my love and the burden of my silence. As I carefully fold the letter back up, my head swirling with questions. What else is hidden down in Chuuk Lagoon? What more did Grandpa and his team decide was too dangerous to share with the world? Reading his words, I feel like I'm just scratching the surface. There must be more stories, more secrets buried deep beneath the waves, innovations, horrors, and desperate decisions made in dark times. It's like standing on the edge of a vast, unexplored abyss. I can't help but wonder about the other truths that lie waiting in the deep, silently calling out to be discovered. How many more chapters of history are hidden there, and what lessons do they hold for us today? It feels like Grandpa's legacy is not just his own story, but a doorway to so much more. I'm drawn to it, needing to uncover what's been left unsaid and unseen.